The opinions, viewpoints, and beliefs presented on this program do not necessarily reflect those of the management, the affiliates and broadcast partners, or the sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
Scarefest Radio, the radio you can see.
And hello and good evening, everyone, and welcome to Scarefest Television. My dogs are going absolutely ape shit crazy in the background, so I apologize for that if you can hear them. But in the meantime, the original broadcast date is April 25th, 2025. Last show of April, 1 week away from our next council episode where we drag the big old Brandon and Adrian in here and make them share details with us. But anyway, this week, I am joined by Katie Followell, our official paranormal person for the show.
Thanks. I'm happy to be here. It's been a minute.
And she was telling me earlier, I'm not going to give away details, but she's becoming known as a sex object, and I'm trying to get her to embrace it. And then tonight we have people representing the Warren's Occult Museum. Dan Rivera and Chris Gilloren. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hey, thanks for having us.
To set the mood, everybody, they are broadcasting from the museum. The museum, which I understand now is open by appointment only, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not open to the public right now. It was closed due to zoning issues.
We do have special guests sometimes.
Right.
God, you gotta love government, don't you? You gotta love government.
Everybody wants their piece.
Now, everyone, you're going to get a special treat tonight in that I'm just going to go ahead and tell you. I will not be asking very many actual questions. What I'm going to do is I am going to relay comments that you all have dropped on the Warren Occult Museum announcements. Some of them come across as questions. Some of them come across as people just being crazy. Some of them they've already noticed because they've read some of them and they've had pretty much, they liked my answer that I gave. But anyway, so this is where we're at. And everybody stick around. Of course, we do have celebrity announcements at the bottom of the hour. I'm going to apologize if you try to watch on Instagram because we don't have an Instagram feed tonight because we're using StreamYard. But Joe Lewis will review the current movie called The Wolfman, the 2025 version, The Wolfman. And just to give it even more ambiance, Annabelle's chair is in this frame. The chair that they used to use.
Yeah, this right here.
Dan's sitting in it.
I'm sitting in Annabelle's original chair. Before the cases were built, this is where Annabelle sat.
Well, see, my dumbass was like, Wes, she's sitting in a chair. I can see the doll, too. It's the doll's there.
Right behind me.
So, okay. First of all, let's go ahead and everybody now, of course, tickets for this are on sale. That you can basically the all access pass is a good way to go if you think you might want to visit more than once. Those will sell out before the convention. Now, the day passes, if you just want to walk through one time, those will be on sale at the convention. So that's not a problem. And of course, yes, I am watching the chat room. Okay, Jake's already offered a question in the chat room, and I'm going to frame that a little bit. In that first serious question I have, okay, Annabelle, of course, is a Raggedy Ann doll. Right. Why do you all have any information on why they chose to use was it just ambiance, creepier looking version that they decided to use for the movie?
Well, I mean, yeah, for the movie, I mean, they couldn't use this doll for the movie. So, yeah, they wanted to go with more of the creepy factor, horror film kind of, looking doll.
Right.
So that was, that's his style too. That's
Right.
James
James
Wan.
Wan.
James Wan. That's his
Yeah.
style. With what was the other movie that he made?
He did The
Well,
Conjuring, did he?
Well, yeah, he did all the
Yeah.
mostly the
Yeah.
Conjurings,
Right.
but he did the
Saw.
the movie Saw. I mean, if you saw the character in Saw, with that creepy doll,
Yeah, he likes the creepy dolls, creepy puppets.
creepy puppets,
Right.
right?
And let's face it, Raggedy Ann isn't really creepy in the conventional sense.
It is kind of creepy, but at the same time, it's probably not for theaters and
Yeah, I
get that
mean,
creepy effect.
it's not only that; it's the feeling when you walk into the Warren's Occult Museum. It's the heaviness, and without even knowing the dolls in that room, you feel this heaviness in the room. Like there's all eyes on you. Like this is not the only haunted object in this museum. There's
Right.
thousands of haunted objects in this museum.
Now, for the record, I was just talking from the movie standpoint. As far as in person, I'm sure she's perfectly creepy, and I give her full credit for that because that's not the kind of person I am. Okay, first question from the chat room.
Bring it on.
So, if Annabelle is so dangerous, why hasn't anything happened to Tony Spera, Zach Bagans, the cleaning crew of the museum, or anything else that people that have dealt with her? How dangerous is Annabelle?
Things have happened. Things have happened to Dan several times. He's been in like 4 car accidents after he's had to move the doll for whatever reason.
Right.
So it's not like things do not happen to us. Other people have fainted in front of this doll, passed out. It's stuff does happen, but we keep it at bay. We're able to we have this case back here that Dan can tell you about the case and how he prepared.
Well, I built this case that's behind me. This is because we had to start doing events because the museum was closed, so we had to take Annabelle outside of the museum. So only way that we could transport her is that if I made this case here. And how I made this case, the stain that I used for this case is infused with holy water and holy oil. Also, I carved out 2 crosses on each side, and then you have the cross on top, 3 crosses that represents the Trinity, the Son, the Father, and the Holy Spirit. And behind Annabelle, I carved the Lord's Prayer in the wood, and then I put the felt up. So with all that I have on there, plus 2 St. Michael plaques on each side. And then we did a binding ritual when we put her in there. And then we have a priest come in every month that does a blessing of the museum as well to bind these items to their case, that we have here in the museum. But I did have a couple accidents. My first accident, the first time I did move Annabelle, and I did drench my hands in holy water. But I wasn't fully protected. I didn't follow all Ed's instructions. And I got into a car accident later on that evening. It was after an event. A client had called me and said, Dan, you have to come to my house. You got to get this demon out of my house. And I said, okay, after our event, I'm going to drive out to Stratford and come visit you. So on the way there, I was at a 4-way intersection. I was sitting at a red light and not paying attention, waiting for the light to turn green. Before I knew it, all cars from all directions were coming into mine, which totaled my car. And I walked out of the accident without a scratch. But it was one of those weird things. Like, how did I get hit by all, 3 cars just came right into me? That was my first accident. And then there was 3 more that followed. The last one, it didn't involve me. We were getting ready to move these items to an event that we were doing down in Gettysburg. And I had my son, David, helping us to move these items. So before we started, getting this stuff into the truck, I told my son, David, hey, why don't you take my truck, go get a couple pieces for everybody, and we could eat before we move the museum into the truck. On his way back, he got hit from a head-on collision from another car. So that was right before we moved these items from the museum. So Yeah, I think this doll knows that, is capable of hurting me, but I've taken extra precautions and I follow all of Ed's rules on how to, transport these items. And actually, Wade, I'll show you. Our friend Wade had these gloves made for me. So, and each finger is a blessed metal. One's a St. Michael medal, St. Benedict, St. Michael, St. Benedict, and it has a holy relic on the other side. So I put these gloves on, so when I'm moving any of the haunted objects, my physical hands or my skin does not touch the object, so my aura doesn't mingle with their aura. So this is my protection, my belief in God that He's going to protect me. So yeah, I do take precautions. Maybe I've gone a little bit overboard with those precautions, but it's because I know what's involved here. I know what happened to me. And I know Tony had experiences as well. I mean, but Tony could tell you later on what his experiences are. I mean, in more detail than I could.
Katie, what do you got?
I have so many questions. So I guess my first thing is, if she's so dangerous, why handle her? Because I'm not gonna lie, that's scary shit.
Well, I mean, one of the reasons why I did handle her is because I had to put her into a new case, where we could take her out and continue telling the stories about Annabelle and the Warrens' legacy and their stories. So Ed's original case is behind Chris. I don't know if you guys could see that. That's the original case. Annabelle was put in that case, and that's built into the wall. I built this case behind me where we could travel with it. So Annabelle stays in that case. So we don't have to handle her anymore if need be. I mean, if she does move, during travel, I have to adjust her, but that's why I have the gloves.
Okay, it's the funniest thing, and I don't know if it's just because I know that's Annabelle, and I know what I'm looking at, but I get she is heavy feeling. Like I can't explain it. She's spooky.
I mean, yeah. And there's times when I've been on podcasts before, and people, would say it's like when I start using religious provocation, and I'm on a podcast and I'm right here and talking in front of Annabelle, people will say that it sounds like I'm underwater.
Right, we get that a lot.
Interesting. Right. Okay. Another really famous haunted doll is Robert the doll. I know that you're supposed to ask for permission before you take a picture of Robert. That was the whole thing. Do we need to do anything for Annabelle, or people when they go to the show?
We don't need that, because like we have a different belief, like about demonic and about God and everything. So we don't want to ask permission from a demon for anything.
True. That makes sense. I mean, that was just something that crossed my mind, and I'm sure somebody else is like, do I need to do something so I don't get
people
hurt?
do that. I see people sometimes online when
we've been like other YouTube channels, people do say, sorry Annabelle for looking into your eyes. We do get a lot of those comments. I don't know where they get that from, but people out there, and they do try to give it.
I guess it does kind of give it respect. I'd rather see that than them challenging it.
Exactly.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Well, it looks like we're up on the first quarter of the hour. Wes, I'm going to throw it over to you.
That went quick.
I know.
Let's see here. There we go.
Are you a fan of horror movies, books, comics, music, and collectibles? Roomorg magazine is for you. Subscribe today to receive 6 or 12 print issues annually and join me, executive editor Andrea Subasati, on an ongoing journey through the horror genre of the past, present, and future. Plus, get access to unmissable special editions such as A Century of Witches, 50 Years of Gore Cinema, British horror movies, and so much more. Roomorg, the world's premier horror and culture and entertainment magazine since 1997. Accept no substitute.
Yeah.
And welcome back, everybody, to Scarefest TV. Okay, Ted. Now, some of these in the chat room, I'm going to go ahead and answer. Location-wise, they're going to be on the second floor, roughly, if I'm not mistaken, where the panel room was last year. Just so you know, so that it's in. Yes, it is not on the main floor. You may peruse the vendors and get your autographs, and never have to interact with the demonic toys. Now, somebody does want to know why. Okay, if this thing is so dangerous, now I think I know the answer, but I'm gonna let you all answer it. Why haven't you just destroyed it? Why hasn't it just been set on fire or buried in a cemetery under a stack of Bibles, something like that?
Well, then you're destroying the vessel, and then where's that attachment going to go? And it's one of the reasons why we keep it in this case, we keep it in this museum, and we bring it out to the public, even though it's in a blessed case. The idea of this is telling the story. Like, there are people out there that just see the movie, but seeing the real haunted artifacts from the Warren's Occult Museum and sharing these stories is a talking point, really. And then we could explain to them more about the paranormal and how it works. And that's exactly what Ed and Lorraine were doing.
Right.
And finally, I do want to add in the chat room, yeah, it's been answered in the chat room again. But basically, they were closed. The museum itself was closed down because of zoning regulations. Good old government interference. So now they get to share it like this.
It was open for like 50 years.
Yeah.
Without any problems. And then, one voice from a neighbor and they wanted to close it down.
Not only that, I mean, the Conjuring movies were coming out. We were holding our Warrenologies here at the house when we had maybe 25 people that would come to the house during the Warrenology. But once the movie came out, more people wanted to come. And, neighbors started complaining across the street and everything, like, oh, you know what, it's too much traffic and everything.
Well, we also had people that were coming that weren't invited here.
Right, trespassers.
People were walking on the property, walking on the neighbor's property, parking all over the place in front of the house. Nothing that we can control.
Right.
Does that happen still a lot? Trespassers?
Yeah, we get them every once in a while. We get trespassers, but we do have high security system here where, they're caught, they're arrested.
Do those fuckers know Annabelle's in there? Like, why would you break into that? Like,
well, yeah, they do. That's one of the reasons why they come here. They don't know exactly where she's at on the property, but once we see them on the cameras, the cops are called. Cops respond fairly quick.
Yeah, they're good here. They know what's going on, and they're great to us. They're the Monroe Police Department comes right out, and they know the deal. They don't even have to ask us if we want to press charges. It's done.
Right.
Yeah.
My next question is for Katie. Have you met people?
People are so dumb. Like,
if they left the doors unlocked, someone would be committing human sacrifice in there by the end of the week. That's just how people are. So yeah.
We did have one guy that thought he was St. Michael. It's crazy. I mean, I was listening through the cameras. I could hear him screaming outside, fighting with the cops.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get some crazy ones.
The worst crime about that is that it's cringy. Like who does that to people? Like,
they're out there.
One of my questions is like, I've seen all of the Warren movies, and I remember there's a scene where Ed and Lorraine's kid goes into what would have been the museum, and Ed and Lorraine had this huge collection in the movies. Was it like that? Like, is it a large collection of items?
Well, maybe got a minute or so, but I'll just do a quick walkthrough.
Oh, hell yeah.
There's Annabelle, Fire Doll. And then we have more stuff on the shelf. It's pretty dark in here. I mean, all we have is like the red lights. That right there is a foot, and so the shoe with a foot still inside the shoe. That came from France, so it was during World War One. More items on the shelf that were used in rituals. Then we have here the dinosaur from the Devil Made Me Do It case. That was from The Conjuring 3.
Yep.
And then we have these masks here
Oh
that
my!
these were all used in satanic rituals. What they would do is, for a sacrifice to the devil, they would sacrifice a young child. They would slit their throats and drink their blood.
While they were screaming in fear.
Right. So what they'll do is they'll get the adrenaline rush really high in that child and then sacrifice him. They'll slit his throat and then drink his blood. And they will also use, where is the knife here, Chris? Knife was there. I don't know where it went. But yeah, they would use a sword like that or a knife and slit their throats. Oh, here's a knife they would use. I don't know if you guys can see it. And then over here, another corner was all from satanic rituals that they performed in the woods.
Okay, and I'm going to ask you a question, and this is both a little funny, B, genuinely curious.
Sure.
Okay, the red light, is there a reason for it? Because really it's just making it more scary and diarrhea inducing.
You know what? I mean, this is what.
Listen, the way Ed wanted it.
This is the way. Right. We have more artifacts in here now that we collected through the years. Let me just put this back.
Do you guys still get new additions?
Yeah. Every weekend we get boxes. People sending us stuff with the stories. They want to get this out of their house. Or we go to clients' houses and we will pick them up. We'll do our investigation and we'll collect the items and we'll put them into the museum.
Do you guys ever get items sent to you that aren't haunted? They're just creepy looking, like.
Yeah, there is that, but we also do. We have Wade, myself, but we have, if we feel there's something coming off that item and we do bless it, we're not taking any chances with it, really. I think it's it's pretty cool that people have a place like this to send these items to.
Yeah, I feel sorry for the mailman who has to carry all of that, though.
Without even knowing there's a haunted item inside that box.
Well, that probably for the best.
Wes is probably like, I shouldn't have asked Katie to be on this one.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, question from the chat room. Seriously, why is that showing up like that? Okay, never mind. That was weird. Okay, get back to this. All right.
What happened?
Someone actually asked, how do you know that it's not just sitting there, biding its time, building its power, preparing to escape, i.e. Lexington, Kentucky?
Yeah, I don't think that's how. Yeah, I don't think that's how it really works. It's like a haunted house. It's got all the conditions have to be right in order for a haunting to occur. It either has to do with the family, personal issues in their lives that they're dealing with, or they were things that they were involved with. It's got to be the perfect storm. So
I think he's referring to Annabelle.
Well, I mean that's
waiting for Annabelle.
Well, and then I'm getting into these objects here now. With these items here, it's like yeah, it probably does wait for the perfect storm to happen.
Don't forget.
And it's one of the reasons why we have this object in a case. For it can't do that harm to somebody. And we go through all the precautions and to do the binding rituals to keep them at bay. And we also, like when we're coming to Scarefest, we're traveling with a priest as well.
Right.
Okay, a Catholic priest, Father Bob Bailey. He will be traveling with us because this is the first time we're taking Annabelle on the road. So yeah, I'm taking all the precautions. So there will be a priest inside the museum as well.
That's a good thing to know, because a lot of people were really worried that they were going to get haunted from it. So I was like, there's a whole convention of ghost hunters. They will take care of it.
We'll make sure that everybody's protected. Either if they like it or not, we're going to make sure everyone's protected. And that's why, we're going to have a priest here. There's going to be holy water, everything that, for all precautions.
Now, in your opinion, completely opinion, this is from the chat room. Now, of course, Annabelle got the most screen time, if you would. What is in your opinion, is that the creepiest item you have in the museum, or is there something that creeps you out more than Annabelle in the story?
Here we go again.
Based on looks only.
Wait a minute. Here we go again. So let's see. So this one right here is the Shadow Doll. Now, this was created by a witch doctor, right? Which Ed and Lorraine inherited. But the only way this thing could cause harm, which this witch doctor created, was to place curses on their enemies. Or somebody came to him and says, "Hey, I want to curse my ex husband." So what he would do is take a picture of this, write the curse on the back of the photo, put it in an envelope, and then mail it to that person. Once that person opens up the envelope, without even looking at the picture, once he breaks that seal, unwittingly, he takes upon that curse. So this thing is known to come into your dreams in the middle of the night and stop your heart.
Ooh.
And if you see, it's made with bird feathers, a human tooth, with inside the body are chicken bones. So this was used for black magic.
It's so cool, but it's so terrifying. Like,
and then here we got I don't know if you guys can see this. Satanic skull. This is a real human skull where a Satanist drank blood out of this skull. And this was a case that Ed and Lorraine worked on, and this was taken out of the house and put into the museum.
See, but now to me, with that paint job, that makes that look cheerful.
Sorry. Chris is going to put the light back up.
Of course, now going back to the comments that we had on the post, of course, had two people pretty close together that said, well, one guy says, Annabelle's locked away in a secret location. She's completely off limits. She will not be at the fest. They will have a similar doll, but it will not be the original Raggedy Ann doll. Blah,
yeah,
blah,
people
blah.
People spread that rumor a lot that there's a second Annabelle doll. There is no. This is the original one that you see the picture of Lorraine carrying out. That it's the same exact doll.
Yeah, I mean, people even say, "Oh, the real Annabelle doll is in Zach Bagans' museum," which no, it's not. This is the real Annabelle doll. Like people say that it's in Zach's museum because Annabelle was brought down to Zach Bagans' museum, and it was a very bad idea that it was. Zach was told not to touch the doll, and then if you go back and watch that Halloween special. You see Zach crawling towards Annabelle, and he reaches out to her and tries to touch her foot. So once Tony saw that happen, and Tony was warning Zach, don't touch the doll. Please don't touch the doll. And he didn't listen. He kept on crawling towards Annabelle. Tony got up, went in that room, took Annabelle out of that room, put her back into her travel case that he brought with him, and left the museum. And the show, Tony never finished the show, so Zach had to find another 15 minutes to fill in to end that show.
Yeah, if you watch the episode, it's only that segment is only a half hour, and then they had to do another half hour.
Right. I mean,
after that,
Tony wasn't messing around. He warned Zach, "Don't touch the doll, or I'm taking it." As soon as he saw Zach doing that, Tony ran in that room, grabbed it, put it in the case, and took off.
Disrespectful to the doll and to Tony.
Yeah, right. And we'll do the same thing. If people come into our museum and they're disrespectful, you will be asked to leave. Well, you won't be asked; you'll be told to leave. And if we have to, we will drag you out.
Well, we'll have security as well.
There will be security there, of course.
They'll send you. Come get me. I'll get them out.
Okay, we need to do our announcements. We need to do our announcements.
Sure.
Bottom of the hour.
It is time to do the announcements. Okay, first off, I do want to say a few words. Laura Park Lincoln passed away apparently this last week, just a few days ago, and so we want to give a shout out to her. She was a regular Scarefest guest. We had her about every other year, sometimes even more often. She's a wonderful, wonderful lady. And this actually hits me hard Now, I know a lot of people, I'm not going to say we were drinking buddies or anything like that, but I will tell you, this woman stepped forward after I had my heart attack 2 years ago and personally supported me, joined my Patreon project. So in other words, yes, we knew each other by name. So of all the people, celebrities that I see go across, the things happen, it's always horrible for the families, but this one hit a little closer to home. So Lar, we're going to miss you. Now to the guest announcements. We're going to start off tonight with Mike Goncalves and Chris Smith. Yes, the Tennessee Wraith Chasers. We want to go ahead and get a paranormal announcement out there tonight because good night to do it. So anyway, we do have the Tennessee Wraith Chasers. That's our first paranormal announcement. We have many, many more. And just to keep you horror fans happy, Alan Trotman. Alan Trotman is coming. Alan, of course, from Return of the Living Dead and Men in Black and Dinosaurs and a few other things. He did a lot of voiceover work. Alan Trotman is coming to Scarefest. Don't forget to watch the third weekend of every month, Central Kentucky Mystical Market, Kentucky's premier psychic and artist market. New location down off Tate's Creek, Center Parkway, 1165 Center Parkway. Third weekend. Go to the Scarefest Weekend, scarefestweekend.com website, and they got the dates, exact dates, because sometimes it's Saturday, sometimes it's Sunday, sometimes all weekend, but you can mark your calendars third weekend of every month. And don't forget to stop by one of my co-hosts. She started a new little mini podcast, Fear the Talking Heads. Tonight, her episode is Scout Taylor Compton in Horror, 3 movies to add to your watch list. Fear the Talking Heads, featuring Barbara Jane. She to find it on YouTube, just type in at Fear the Talking Heads, because their algorithms for some reason won't show if you don't put the little ampersand, not ampersand. Yeah, that's it's an at. Yeah, not ampersand. At the little at sign, like at Gmail. That one. And finally, don't forget, everybody, what we're talking about tonight. The Warren's Occult Museum will be traveling to Kentucky to Scarefest. And if you'd like it, to get a little visit with it, you can buy a 3-day pass that lets you come and go pretty much all weekend. Or you can get just a single pass that'll take you through the tour. So now let's go ahead. Let's talk a little bit about what they're going to expect for when they get there to Scarefest, to the museum. Roughly how many items are we talking?
We'll probably have about 15 to 20.
Yeah, roughly around there.
Yeah.
And estimate how long it's going to do to take a walk through. And is it going to be guided tour, or do you just turn people loose? Tell us what people can expect once they go in the door.
Well, what we've found is we let just people come in, and there'll be little signs explaining what everything is. But of course, Wade is in there. Wade Kirby's one of our members, and he loves telling stories about all the items. And what usually happens is people are drawn to Wade, and they kind of follow Wade around, and he talks about the items. We'll be in there as well.
Yeah,
but people love Wade.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be explaining things too in the museum if anybody has questions.
Right.
So this will be like I said, our first year actually spending all this time in the museum area. Like I said, we ran our own conventions in the past, but and we were running around like crazy. So Wade will be the only one in the museum explaining everything. But now we have that opportunity to be in the museum all day for that whole weekend, helping Wade explain everything about the museum and about Ed and Lorraine.
And we'll have T-shirts and stuff like that, some merch that'll be available.
Yeah, merch table. They'll have that. Now, this has nothing to do with you all, incidentally. Well, I was scrolling through the comments on the announcement.
And I'm sorry, I should mention that you guys can take pictures, and a lot of people always ask, can we take pictures? Yes, you can take pictures and video and all that fun stuff. So,
although now somebody asked if they were allowed to take pictures and touch the items, which I said no, because it's a goddamn museum.
Right.
No, you cannot touch the items.
You cannot touch the Mona Lisa.
As soon as we see you approaching one of the items, you will be taken out fast.
There you go.
Jake.
And,
I'm calling you out, Jake.
One of the popular ones that came across was somebody was going to grab Annabelle and chuck it at somebody. And yes, it's in a wooden box. It will kill them. We both agreed on that. But okay, now this has nothing to do with y'all. I do have to put this. Some troll was on that post and I was expecting it to be bigger. Talking about Scarefest in general. I walked the whole floor in 15 minutes. So all you people that bitched about standing in line 2 hours, you're totally liars. Yeah. If you walked the whole floor in 15 minutes, you could have got through the line in less. I'm sure of it. Katie, you got anything? I'm just going through comments here, and most of them are really great. They're just really say how excited they are. I've not actually found. I thought
awesome.
I would find more.
Yeah, we love meeting new people, so it's gonna be fun. Yeah, we like to see where everybody comes from when they do show up.
Yeah, we like I say, we like sharing the stories. And we meet new friends. So this is the whole thing, and why we do this is
I'm sure we'll connect with some people.
Yeah, explain who we are, who are the Warrens, and why do we hold these artifacts in the museum.
Okay, so a lot of museums will do preservation on the items they have. Do you guys do anything to preserve? I mean, who wants to, change out the clothes on Annabelle? But do you do anything? Do you keep them in temperature regulated boxes
Well, yeah. I mean, we keep them in this museum here right now at the house, which is it's not like a museum quality.
Yeah.
For sure.
But we keep them in good condition. I mean,
this is the museum is almost exactly the way Ed left it when he passed away in 2006.
So when you say why are all these red lights here, that it's the way Ed liked it. So we kept it. Yeah, we kept it that way. So not much changed. The decor in here did not change.
There's some new spider webs.
There's some new spider webs. There are new items in here,
right.
But it's pretty much the same.
Well, and I know that's probably just a ridiculous question, but if you go to certain museums, they'll say, "Oh, I kept Judy Garland's ruby slippers at blah 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 humidity." I didn't know if that was. I think Annabelle's just as iconic as the ruby red slippers. Everybody recognizes her. Is there anything that a lot of people are going to have recognized Annabelle from the movie? Is there anything that they got wrong about her? Is there a wrong expectation for her? Did they make her more scary or not scary enough?
I think it's it's the same really. When you come and meet the real Annabelle, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it when you walk in that room. So I don't know. I don't think the expectations really changed at all. I mean, we have the real movie Annabelle doll they used.
When you flipped the camera, I saw her, and I was like, ah.
Yeah, I mean, right here. I mean, this is the real. I don't know. Let me get the light real quick. That's the real Annabelle doll they used in the movie.
Annabelle Comes Home.
Annabelle Comes Home. It was given to Tony and Judy by Warner Brothers.
Of course, all of the questions I'm asking, I feel like are just really stupid questions. So I'm so sorry, because my thought is did the real Annabelle get offended at that? But obviously,
well, we've done investigations in here, and believe it or not, I mean, we do get activity from the movie doll as well, and these objects, they feed off of each other for attention. During our investigations. We have REM pods going off. We get EVPs coming from, everywhere in the museum. From Annabelle, Shadow Doll, you name it. There is a lot of activity in here.
What's the most active time? Does a thunderstorm set everything off, or?
Well, I think with during a thunderstorm, you have all that EMF and in the air, which will energize the environment. So yeah, things could get really crazy in here during that time, but it could also be more during the witching hours.
That was my next question.
Right, all the way through 3-4 a.m. in the morning.
after 9 o'clock, it gets, I don't know, for whatever reason.
And we're in here after 9 o'clock doing this podcast. But
yeah.
Yeah, after 9 o'clock, it starts getting a little more active.
Like I could put equipment up here and it'll be going off right now.
Yeah.
We were talking.
Just out of curiosity,
yeah.
Out of curiosity, does any, and not just Annabelle, do any of the objects like move overnight? Have you ever walked and said, "That's not where we had that"? How we had that standing or whatever.
Well, there are not Annabelle per se, but there were other things that have been relocated inside the museum. We don't know how it has gotten there or why it was moved, and we also hear growls up in the upper level. It's just weird things that happen.
We lose a lot of stuff, like equipment and stuff.
Well, I think personally, you lose a lot of stuff, like you forget your keys.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we still lost all our uplighting, and I know I put it in here.
We lost Wi-Fi during a live investigation in here. Like the shadow dial just took out the Wi-Fi, and it was kind of funny because it just wasn't the house. Like it was 1,000. What was
like
it?
1,000 feet radius around.
1,000-foot radius around the house here.
Right.
It's funny, but it happened.
Do they like to be investigated and like interacted with, or?
Well, no. The only reason why we do our investigations is to show that these items are active and there are attachments to these items. People hear the stories, but what I like to do is like, okay, here's some proof, if you want to call it that. You know, it's just people can see it, they can hear it for themselves, and so it's just not the stories. So I put a little bit validation behind it.
So
items compete for attention.
Yeah.
At times, so a lot of times,
crazy.
Whatever attached to Annabelle and whatever attached to the shadow doll.
Yeah.
They compete a lot. It seems like that we've only learned this over the past couple of years.
Yeah.
That they'll compete for our attention for sure.
Right. Like there were times where we're getting answers that, you know, the shadow doll and Annabelle wanted to be next to each other. So we ended up putting both of these items next to each other, and it just went crazy. Like the activity in the room, the evidence that we've captured in the room.
I've always been. How do you guys explain these items to skeptics? Because I think I'm pretty skeptical about haunted dolls, but I weirdly trust you guys.
You know, all we could do is just tell our stories, and then you can watch our videos from our investigations, and then you could come up to a conclusion. You know, whatever you want to. We're not here to force our beliefs or what these items are. We're just here to explain them. We're here to explain how the paranormal works. There is a devil. There is a God. That's our job. Like I said,
you're explaining the legacy of the Warrens.
We're explaining the legacy of the Warrens, and we're keeping that alive by still doing the work. So yeah, these items, we take them to the events, but they're talking points. And then what we do is we educate more people about the paranormal and about the demonic and how that all works.
Now, honestly, now I'm going to say the person didn't mean this as serious of a question as I'm actually going to ask it. But has any, well, I'm going to say psychic, has an EVP given you a clue, which I wouldn't think they would, but has a psychic come in and said, I know the demon's name?
Well, we have plenty of people that came in here, you know, saying those kind of things. We also had people come in here. It's like this one lady, she just wanted to come into the museum just to meet Annabelle. She did not want to meet Tony. She did not want to meet Judy. She didn't want to meet us. It was this doll. So she had her friend take a picture of her in front of the doll. And then later on that evening, she came to us and showed us the picture. And you saw these eyes within Annabelle's eyes, the button eye, you know, the doll has a pair of eyes just looking down at her to the left. And then she went onto the other side, you know, take a picture of me on this side of the doll. And then you see the eyes staring back at her down
on the other side.
On the other side.
Yeah, it's really because they're just black buttons. That's it. There's nothing inside them. These photos she had and almost like there was even darker pupils within those dark eyes
Right.
that were looking that way when she stood there. And then on the other side, when she took a picture later on, we didn't realize it right away until she went home. But she's like, check this out.
Yeah, it was later on that
way.
evening when we were having our dinner.
Right.
I guess now, even if you knew it, I wouldn't want you to say it because I'm superstitious enough to not say a demon's name. But that being said, have any of the stories that people have come in and told you, oh, this is what I know? Because I do believe some people are terribly, terribly gifted. Okay.
Yeah.
And other people are full of shit. No doubt about it. Mm-hmm. I'm the perfect example of that. Now, that being said, have any, I guess I'm going to ask you if you've seen any patterns of the stories they try to give you, or is it just all over the board where you don't pay attention to any of it?
Well, there are things that happen. I mean, but
what do you mean?
I'm talking about just the spoken word, what the psychic comes up and
no, and that's another thing. We don't like repeating the demon's name.
Oh no, I'm not asking you to.
Okay, yeah, I mean, even like growing up, I lived with an aunt that she practiced black magic and everything, and she told us her demon's name. She called it, he called it her guide or whatever, but it was her demon, and she told us the name of it, and we never repeated that name, and it was a name that you would have to say backwards in order to pronounce it right. So yeah, we knew the name, how to say it if you say it regularly, but you had to pronounce the name backwards, and that was the demon's name. It's kind of weird. And she would, torment us as kids, that it's going to come to you in the middle of the night. If you're not good for me, it's going to come to you in the middle of the night. It's going to tug at your feet, this and that. Sure as shit. There were times that it tugged my feet. There were times that when I was thrown out of bed into the wall. I didn't grow up in a haunted house. I grew up in a house of demons. What my aunt was practicing. Her altar was underneath my bedroom. So I do respect, when people say, do not pronounce the name, if you're going to pronounce the name, better have a priest in the room, and the priest better be doing an exorcism to cast that demon out.
Okay, we're going to do we got Joe's movie review up, everybody.
It's
we're going to
lost.
come back for a few minutes.
Oh, there you go.
Right after this. And we're going to tell you a little bit more what you can look forward to at Scarefest 2025.
Hey, Scarefest, this is Joe Lewis of Bonehead Weekly, and yes, I'm wearing color. Damn it, it's Easter. Well, it was Easter. Anyway, this week's review is a movie that I was looking so forward to. I didn't get to see it in theater, even though I really wanted to. But I'm a big fan of the guy who did its work. It's directed and written by Lee Whannell. If you don't know who Lee Whannell is, that's okay. He plays Specs in the Insidious movies. This week is his adaptation of The Wolfman. He did The Invisible Man a couple years ago. I loved his version of The Invisible Man. He did a movie before that called Upgrade. Love Upgrade. He directed one of the Insidious movies. He's really talented. He also wrote the first Saw. He's in Saw. He's the one with Carrie Ellis. Talented guy, makes some really good movies. So when they said he was going to do The Wolfman, I was like, yes. And then a few months before The Wolfman came out, some of the pictures were leaked of what The Wolfman looked like because they did some stuff at Universal Studios with it. And I was like, oh, do not care for it, but don't be judgy. I was trying not to be one of those trolls. So I finally got a chance to watch it. It's on Peacock streaming if you have Peacock. I hate using these terms like these made it like splatterpunk and body horror, but it is kind of a body horror film. It's about a guy who was raised in the upper Midwest or Pacific Northwest, and he and his family go back because his father has passed away, and he's the only son, and they're going to go pack up the place and kind of close it out. And on the way there, they're attacked by something in a car accident. He's scratched by it. Something that looks like a wolf, and as the night, it takes place basically over one night. Now, as the night stretches, he becomes more and more infected. There's some things I liked about the movie, even though I really didn't particularly care for it. One of the things I really liked about it is his kind of point of view of what that would feel like to become a wolf or whatever this creature. You got to see what the world looks like, what the lights look like, what the night looks like, what the force looks like. That's really cool. Problem is the movie just doesn't quite work. The way the Wolfman looks doesn't work for me at all, even in context of the movie. I was like, maybe it doesn't work. It's just hard to enjoy this movie. It's not bad. It just doesn't work in any way. You kind of want it to. The acting's not bad. It's not horribly written. It's just there. You don't get involved with them all that much. And when I say the acting's not bad, that's not entirely true. Not to beat up on anybody, but the girl, his daughter, ugh. And I know Julie Gardner is very famous for being on a show on Netflix, The Ozarks, but her hair kills me. Has nothing to do with anything. Christopher Abbott plays the Wolfman. And you can see the twist ending coming from a mile away. There's a lot of rocks to throw at this. It's not a terrible movie. It just doesn't do it for me. Once again, they took the Wolfman and did something different. I give him credit for swinging for the fences, and the guy keeps swinging for the fences, so it's just this one didn't work. Invisible Man was a science fiction kind of thing. I love that. Upgrade science fiction. This body horror, it should work, but it just doesn't. I'm not invested in him. And I'm not invested in the twist ending of who the other wolf is or any of that. I just didn't care. So should you watch it? If you have Peacock, if you have Peacock, check it out. But if you don't break your neck. So this has been Joe Lewis of Bonehead Weekly. This may be the last time you ever see me in color.
And welcome back, everybody, to the last few moments of Scarefest TV. We're talking about the Warren's Occult Museum, which the traveling version is coming to Scarefest this October 17th through 19th. Yes, and despite some guy actually said, this museum isn't in Kentucky. And I'm like,
no shit.
They can rent a van.
Oh, sorry.
But it's coming to Kentucky.
It's coming.
It's
Get your tickets.
Now, the other thing, now we're not everybody. This is, I think we might have mentioned it on one of the council episodes, so this may or may not be a scoop. But now we are planning on doing an after hours investigation of the items on site. You'll be able to it'll be celebrity led, and it's got to work hammer out all those details. But yeah, we said it was gonna be short. Well, I'll do it, But so if you want to bring your ghost hunting equipment, there, that way you can see if they throw EMF and all that stuff, or you get an EVP. But that is something that we are working on. We still got to hammer out a lot of details, to get that going. But did want to tease that tonight.
Yeah, that's awesome that you did. And like I said, we got to do a lot of talking, a lot of planning for that. And yeah, I think that's going to be an exciting thing that we'll be able to share that with a few from the public.
Yeah, it'll be a very limited event.
Right.
That's something we haven't done before.
On the road.
Right. With we have our Devils on the Run where we've done, but not with a bunch of items like this. So yeah, that'll be cool.
Do you guys have anything from the Amityville case?
Oh yeah, hold on a second. Don't get me to move around the museum.
He's getting his steps in. It's good.
Getting old.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, right here.
I don't know if you guys can see it. Can you see
this right here was from George's keychain, where he handed Ed the keys to the house to get into Amityville, and that's one of the pendants was on George's keychain.
That's so. That's so cool. Like,
isn't that the crucifix over there?
Oh yeah, the crucifix and the Bible that was used during the blessing of the house.
This is it, right? Yeah. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's from when they blessed the house. And there's a Bible over there too. It's a little delicate, so I'm not going to bring that over.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. This is like scratching my paranormal brain and my horror movie nerd brain right now. I'm like, whoa.
Well, I mean, Ed, like I said back in the day, his office.
Maybe we'll bring that.
His office is right outside of the museum here, attached to the museum, where he did all his research, listened to his recorders, and
this is his chair that I'm sitting in.
Slide pictures and everything.
Yeah, everybody. We gave Annabelle's chair a shout out, but Chris
Yeah,
is
all
sitting
the
in.
all the squeaking you hear over here
My fat ass.
is Chris's fat ass moving around in Ed's chair. Don't break it.
It's
Well,
30.
that would be embarrassing. Don't break it on camera.
It's falling back towards the Annabelle.
Oh! I'm so excited for this. Like I'm kind of more excited about this than any guests. So
Yeah,
far.
we're excited too.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to
It's
it.
gonna be awesome.
So okay, I'm gonna be a geek really quick. I kept hearing this noise in my ear because I've got headphones in, and it was like maybe it was the chair squeaking. I'm sorry, Wes. I'm like I heard. I don't know. It was like a loud. It was only in this ear, and it was like a whole different thing.
Having a stroke.
Maybe.
Do the fart noise.
Shit. And
I
on
watch a
camera
lot of
too.
house. Watch a lot of House MD. You have a tumor. It's a tumor.
Honestly, probably it's all the red dye I eat or something.
But do you have psychic abilities?
I don't know. People tell me I'm sensitive or something, but I could just hear something in my ear just then. Like I can't. It was just. I only heard it, I think, twice.
Okay. All right.
It's possible. Very possible.
I'm intrigued now. So
Go to the light, Katie.
go to the doctor.
Yeah, Jake said, "Do you smell toast?"
Yeah.
Okay, everybody. We're going to let you go now. We're going to let our gentleman from the New England Society of Psychic Research. I'm going to say that one more time. New England Society of Psychic Research that run and are now hauling around the Warren's Occult Museum. We're really excited for the exhibit, you guys. And like I said, the vast majority of the response we got in the chat room has been very, very positive, either from a horror movie standpoint or from the paranormal standpoint. And of course, then you have a few people that say that it's all bullshit and who cares, because it's
you know what?
It's museum history.
We're fine with that. You know, like I said, we're not here to force this on anybody. All we're doing is continue Ed and Lorraine's work and their legacy, and keeping this all alive. You could hear our stories, we could explain things, but like I said, if you walk away with something, that's great. If you don't, that's great too. I mean, you know, we're here, like I said, just to share those stories and let people know that we're still doing this.
From my viewpoint, and this is, like I said, I'm not the skeptic in this room, but if you're a horror movie fan, just having that connection to what inspired what is an obviously successful franchise of horror movies, even if let's suspend all belief and say it was all bullshit, still that makes this a really neat thing to be a part of. Now, if you're not a psychic, not a skeptic, and you want to come and you believe it, then you, like you said, take away what you will from it.
Right.
So we're looking forward to this, and everybody, next week will be the council episode on Scarefest TV, and then the week after that we go to FrankenCon, so that'll be probably sitting around the table drinking and do a quick live like I did one year. But anyway, so everybody, see you next week. I want to thank the gentleman from the Warren Occult Museum from coming on, and we'll
we'll see you.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it.
We will see you next week.